I'm Allie. Welcome to this mindful movement practice focusing on the pelvis, hips, and spine. Starting laying down in a comfortable position, feel free to add a little pillow or block under the neck, especially if it feels uncomfortable laying down, looking side to side a few times. What I mean by uncomfortable is if you're laying down and the chin is tipping far back, we want the chin more tucked, about a fist could fit right under the chin, keeping the neck long. Again, great option to have a block, help naturally find that alignment. For the breathing, relaxing the muscles in the face, the jaw, the position of the head is important so that the breath can enter the lungs with some ease. And the hands can start on the rib cage, feeling how the breath expands the rib cage. And the exhale gently pulls the rib cage together. An option to breathe out through the lips like you're breathing through a straw. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the imaginary straw. That straw really helps feel that deeper layer of transverse abdominals. It's 360 degrees around the trunk, connecting the rib cage to the pelvis. The relationship between the rib cage and the pelvis is very important in all movement. This is more about experiencing the body than working out. However, the more you can practice experiencing the body, the more it enhances your workouts when you're specifically targeting areas of the body. Whenever we're targeting areas, having a stable rib cage pelvic connection and understanding the spine is super important. Placing the hands onto the hip bones, letting the fingers fall towards the pubic bone, creating a triangle on top of the pelvis. The reason the hands are here is to guide the movement, letting the movement happen at the pelvis. Letting the pelvis tilt, the low back arches. Now there's some space under my low back. I could fit a hand under there. And tucking, pressing the low back into the mat, right? Taking the pelvis through this tilt and tuck. Remembering to breathe. This can be micro too, especially during a mindful movement practice. We don't have to go to the end range. You can explore the end range, noticing where it naturally comes to a stop and transitioning without forcing anything. Eventually finding an in-between. In between the tuck and the tilt, there's a spot where the low back's heavy, the sacrum is heavy, and pulling in one leg. As you pull in the leg, keep the spine long. Keep the pelvis rooted, right? That butt cheek on the leg that we're pulling in is still rooted into the mat. I'm reaching the butt away from the shoulder. Pointing the ankle. Extending the leg up. Finding the natural stopping point without creating too much sensation, flexing the ankle, pull the heel in. Right, so pointing, looking for a sensation, flexing does not have to be a 10 out of 10, nor should it be. Somewhere around a 5 out of 10 sensation is very appropriate for experiencing the movement in the way that it feels. And then holding the leg straight-ish, right? If it can go all the way straight, no problem. Keeping the pelvis anchored, you can go straight. If a micro bend in the knee, a little bending works better. Bend it a little bit. The arms, the upper arms are pressing into the mat, upper back heavy. Circling the leg in, across, around, and back up. Stabilizing the pelvis. The leg on the mat can stay bent. You could also extend that leg. About 2 more, doing 5, and then switching. Again, leading from where the thigh becomes the pelvis. Keeping the shoulders heavy, the low back heavy for 3. Action from the pelvis, 2, 1. Bend that leg, extend it back out. Take a breath. Exhale through your straw. Pulling in the other leg. As you pull that leg in, the butt reaches away from the shoulder, pointing the ankle, extend the leg, flex, bring it in. Noticing if this side feels different. Super normal. Looking for harmony, not symmetry. About 5. Checking in that the foot's flexing evenly. And then extending that leg. Pulling it in, pushing it away. Pulling it in, pushing it away. Anchor the arms into the floor. Again, this knee can be softly bent, straight, somewhere in between. Bringing that leg in, across, around. Focusing on the pelvis. The action is happening where the thigh becomes one with the pelvis. Right at the hip joint. 2, 1. And reverse it for 5. Keeping the pelvis as stable as you can. 2. Feeling how the pelvis wants to shift and gently pulling in the abs. 2, 1. Bend the knee, hugging both knees in, pulling the legs as close as you can while reaching the butt away, keeping the trunk really long, spine long. Feet flexed, extending the legs, keep pulling the legs in. Right? If the legs, they want to travel away from the body, try and keep pulling them in, even if the legs don't extend as much, that is okay. Exploring that sensation while keeping the thighs close to the chest. 2 more. A lot of tension in this position. And then place the feet down, taking a breath. Walk the feet farther out, well beyond the back of the knees. Because we will be lifting the hips, it is best to remove anything behind the back of the head and neck. Look side to side, feel for that center spot. Check in, a fist under the chin, tucking the chin. The arms, the back of the arms pressed down. You can leave your fingertips up to the ceiling, really helping to engage the shoulder blades onto the back. You can also press the hands down, keeping that upper back engagement. Right, so make your choice. Without moving the heels, drag the heels into your butt. This should engage the back of the thighs, right? You can relax it and pull the heels in. and relax to feel that sensation of the heels pulling in. Now, bridging the butt up. Press through the head, neck, and shoulders evenly. And articulate back down from the upper back, lowering bone by bone, middle back, lower back. Take your time. This can be a lot of tension on the hamstrings. You do not have to go too high on your bridge to feel the sensation, like your heels are dragging in towards your butt, bridging up, and articulating back, down, going bone by bone, lengthening the spine. One more. Check in that all 10 toes are pointed up to the ceiling. They're not caving in, caving out. Train track legs. Bridging up. Take your time. Articulating back down, bone by bone. Now, bring the feet in closer towards the hips. Not too close that we're really feeling it in the front of the thighs. So if when you bridge up you feel a lot of thighs, walk the feet back out another pace or two to engage through the butt and glute muscles, right? So not necessarily bridging up as high as you can. Bridging up, finding somewhere where you can feel glute engagement, ab engagement. Remember, breathe through your straw to find that ab core set. Now hands come to the front of the hips, letting the left hip drop down. The right hip may lift a little, and then recenter the pelvis. Let the right hip drop down a little and back through center. So just feeling the way as you drop one hip, the movement changes, dropping the other hip, back up to center. Let's do this twice more on each hip, feeling the pelvis. Noticing if the back is arching. We want to be in a subtle tuck. Not so tucked that the spine really rounds, just enough tuck that the low back is not really arching, right? Because as soon as I arch my low back, I lose that connection to my butt. Slowly lowering back down until the butt is last. Now you can stick with that double leg bridge if that's working well for your body. Remember that gentle tuck, right? I can't fit my hand under my low back here. I'm not over tucking either. There's always two sides to the coin, right? You can go a little too far and that's okay. This is an experience, so you can always shift and play with the movement. I'm going to pop up my left heel, right? My left heel is extremely light as I can let it be. Arms are anchored, shoulder blades are anchored, bridging back up, trying to engage more of the right glute muscle. Now, I'm going to lower halfway. The spine is staying stiff like a rod. Bridging back up. Lowering halfway, checking in. You can always place a hand on the low back sacrum and feel if it's really arching. Gently tuck it. Now you can keep it in B stance, right, with the heel down. For the last few, if you'd like to take the leg up, you lower halfway and lift. For 3. Checking in, hip bones even, right? That drill before. We want to avoid hip shifting the best we can. 2, 1, and lowering all the way back down. Excellent. Second side. Maybe check in, feet are same distance. Feels good. Pop up that heel. Feeling the pelvis, anchor the arms. Bridging up. Really light on that right heel or whatever heel's popped up. Spine like a rod. Find your exhale. Through your straw, find your corset, lower halfway. Feeling the sensation. Feeling even pressure through the inner and outer edge of the heel. The big toe mound, little toe mound, right? That foot is rooted. Option to take the leg all the way up. For the last 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way back down. Hug the legs in, rock side to side. Rock onto the side body for side leg series. Lining up the spine with the back edge of the mat, the legs are forward on the angle. Now you can either bring your hand behind the back of your head, your other hand, your top arm, right in front of your chest, or if it works better to lay on your arm, you can lay on your arm. Right? Pelvis, feeling the sacrum. Your cheeks, your butt cheeks, your cakes are stacked, one on top of the other. If you can, find some space under your bottom hip by connecting to your corset. Okay, stability through the spine, the pelvis, root the bottom leg into the floor, float the top leg up, trying to open up from the butt pelvis connection. Lowering slow, slow, slow to feel that resistance and then opening up. If you feel like the pelvis is shifting, you can always take that hand that's supporting in front of your chest and place it behind your glute on your sacrum to feel the stability of your pelvis. Gazing straight ahead to keep the neck long. Trust that your leg is doing it what your brain is telling it to do. And that way you can really feel into it. Part of moving mindfully is trying to feel the movement. Circling right from the pelvis where the thigh becomes the pelvis. Right where it's connected. You can always take your hand to the front of the hip. The hand can be extremely helpful for feeling the feedback and reminding your body to initiate not from the foot or the lower leg, right from the upper leg. And then reverse it, going up, around. Checking in, is the rib cage still lengthening away from the pelvis? Really long spine. For 3, 2, 1. Thighs together. Leaving the thighs together, the rotation is happening at the upper hip bone. Into internal rotation, let that foot float up and lower back down. The foot goes up, the upper thigh goes internally into rotation. About 3 more. 2. And then flip onto the stomach before the next side. Taking a moment to tuck the pelvis, feel some glute engagement, and tilt the pelvis. It might not be as extreme as on your spine. That's okay. We're not looking for extreme anyway. So starting to even make the movement smaller and smaller. Really feel the hip bones pressing towards the mat. Feel how as you tilt the pelvis, the pubic bone goes up away from the mat. The hip bones stay on the mat. As you tuck, the pubic bone goes into the mat. The hip bones, they might start to lift up a little bit, but remember we're trying to go for a more micro expression. And feel how as you tuck, there's a bit more glute engagement. Remembering this as we come back to it, we'll do this one more time. Flip onto your other side for the other side. Right? Learning the pelvis, learning your pelvis is extremely important when it is time to go to a more intensive exercise session, strength training, Pilates, whatever it is that you like to do. Knowing how to move and connect with your pelvis, the rib cage, so important. So take your time, lengthen the spine, lengthen the hips away from the spine. Firm up the bottom leg, pressing into the earth. The top leg floats up. Remember, you can always have your hand on the back of your pelvis, feeling that your cheeks are stacked, or the front of the hip, feeling that the hip bones are stacked one on top of the other, and the movement's really initiating from those glute muscles and not the foot. We will take it now into circles, rotating from the hip socket, breathing. You can always breathe through your straw. As long as you're breathing though, that's what's most important, and then reverse it. Noticing if this side may feel different, very normal to just notice. 1. Lining up the thighs. Internally rotating the top thigh, foot lifts. You can gently press the bottom leg into the mat. Again, noticing if this side feels different. About 2 more. It's really normal if your foot's not lifting quite as high. I have been drilling internal rotation for a really long time, right? We want to let our body open up to this movement gradually. Flipping back on to the stomach. Make a pillow for your head and tuck your pelvis again. Feel the glute engagement. Tilt the pelvis and tuck. Staying in a tuck, right? You don't have to over tuck, but keep that tuck and some glute engagement. That way you can float up one leg. The hip bone, my hip bone is still pressing in. So if you want to bring your hands, if it's okay to bring your hands to the front of your pelvis, lifting that leg, keeping a gentle tuck. Actually feels like a really good hand massage. Letting that hip bone. Again, the leg's not lifting as much as it's reaching. That's how I'm getting my leg to lift up higher, is I'm thinking about the heel reaching away. Option to do both legs, lifting up. If you're over tucked in your pelvis too, like right now I'm really kind of aggressively tucking, I can move my legs a little but not a lot. So I am kind of balancing between the two, letting myself move, but not arching, because as soon as I arch, I can't lift my legs at all. And my hips are staking into my hands, right? So finding that balance, that little bit of tuck. 3. And then let's try a few with bent legs to feel that difference, right? So letting the legs lift and lower. If the low back arches, this is a spot where it might be a bit much on the lower back, right? So keep that little bit of tucking. All right, that's enough of that. Bringing the forearms back. Now this can be done in the same position, leaving your head down, okay? If this does not work for your shoulders, lay back down. I'm thinking about my elbows, they're not moving. I'm dragging them into my hips and my hips towards my elbows, right? The pelvis, it's subtly tucking into the floor. You can gaze where the floor and the wall meet to keep that neck long. Taking one heel, bring it in towards your butt. Kick, kick. The point of this exercise is to stabilize the pelvis against the movement. Right, kick, kick, without letting the movement of the leg move the pelvis. Securing the pelvis, scooping in the lower abs, lengthening through the upper spine. About 3 more. And then taking the one arm out to the side. We're gonna roll onto that arm, pressing through the arm. So at any point, if you roll over and your body says, thank you, that's enough, honor that. Lift the opposite leg, right? So whatever arm's out to the side, my right arm's out to the side, my left leg lifts. The hip bone's still in rooting towards the mat. Lifting up, stacking the cheeks. You can stay anywhere that works for you. You can bend that leg, put the foot back behind you. You can leave it straight, you can leave it bent. Just taking a spinal twist. That hand that's out in front of your chest or just supporting the movement, if you can reach it and take the ankle, you can do that. This is an option. The more you press that top hip forward, the more you get a stretch across the front of the hip. So even if you can't pull in that foot, you can still reach the leg back, the hip forward, and you get that stretch across the front of the pelvis. Just about 1 more breath here. Also getting a great stretch on the chest. Make sure you're pressing that arm into the floor as well, so it doesn't go numb on you. And when you're ready, unwind. So now take the opposite arm out to the side. Float up that opposite leg. Make sure you're gazing away from the straight arm. Lifting up. Again, option to keep the leg straight. Option to bend it, find the floor. Option to take the hand, find the ankle. The more you push that hip forward, the more the hip stretches. About 1 more round of breath here. And coming back onto the stomach, pressing back into a child's pose. Again, choosing what works for you. Knees wide, feet together. You can always push the hips back and forward until you find somewhere you can stay and breathe and walk the hands out. Let your pelvis be really heavy and your spine lengthen away, segment by segment. There's little muscles in between every bone in the spine. They're very subtle. It's thinking about lengthening through the bottom of the spine, the middle of the spine where the rib cage starts, up through the upper back, through the neck, reaching the crown of the head forward as the butt pulls back. Taking another breath here. And coming into a child's pose. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Really pressing evenly through the palms. Especially today, keep your hands pressing through where the pointer finger turns into the palm and the bottom of the palm on that outside, right? Think pinky down to the base. Those 2 points really try and press where the pointer finger becomes the palm, press there. Where the pinky edge of the palm becomes the wrist, really press there. Press through the legs on the floor. Taking an arch, feeling the sacrum. And then press the floor away, rounding the pelvis. Really round the upper back. Feel the shoulder blades spread. As you inhale, feel the shoulder blades pull together. And arch through the back. So a few times taking it at your own pace. There are a lot of muscles here in the spine, each segment of the spine that you can explore. One more. And then stopping with a long, lengthened spine, just a gentle, gentle tuck of the pelvis to engage the lower abs, right? So that looks like there I'm tilted, my low abs are falling, gently, gently tucking the low abs, pulling in. Taking the left leg back or either leg back. Pretend like your foot is stuck to the earth. It's not going anywhere. Now, I want to fire up my butt, the back of the thigh. I'm trying to lift my leg, I can't. I'm trying to lift my leg, I can't. Okay, I'm going to free up the foot, but not move from the foot. Move right from the butt. Lift that leg up. Now, internally rotate that thigh. Let the toes point in. Toes point back down. Toes point out away from the body. You can open up the pelvis a little bit, but still try and let the hips face towards the ground, right? So again, let yourself move, right? Toes go under. But if I let the hips move a lot, right, it's no longer working that leg that's extended. So out and in, finding that internal and external rotation. It can be small, it can be subtle. We're exploring the pelvis, right? This isn't your workout class, although it sure takes effort. And then we will. Let's do it more dynamically. Let your body move. Now you're going to use that bottom leg more to open up that leg, right? And then I'm going to let that leg drop, letting it lift. Right? Because both can be true. We can make micro movements really powerful and connected. And we can also let our body move, right? Letting the pelvis stack and tuck. One more. And then cross that lifted leg behind the bent leg. Push both cheeks back and come in and out of it a few times. Just stretching out the hips. And then the other side, right? And this is a movement experience, so you can make your choices, right? It does not have to look anything like my expression. You can feel into your body. So again, prepping that leg. The toes are glued to the floor, but I'm trying to lift it, okay? So through this push-pull, I start to feel my glutes engaged. I feel both glutes engaged. I feel the glute attached to the knee on the floor engaged to stabilize the pelvis. The hands are rooted right through those points of contact. Now that I feel the glute, now I float my leg up. That way, I feel the glutes, the pelvis, the lower abs, the toes point in and point out. A very micro expression, trying to see how much rotation you have when the pelvis is not really moving. Right? Maybe it moves a little bit. We're humans, right? This is a practice. And then I'm going to let my pelvis move. I'm going to stack my cheeks. And then I'm going to drop that hip, get a stretch on the pelvis and lift it up and under and up. Still rotating the upper thigh right at the pelvis, just letting that pelvis move with the rotation. When you've had enough of that, cross the knee back, in and out. About 2 more. And let's finish with a pelvic twist. Options. Legs are stacked. Legs are staggered. One shin forward, one shin sideways. If this does not work for you, feel free to lay on your back, cross one ankle over, rock side to side. This is a great option to finish with as well. Feel free to try both. They're both great exercises, right? So this way we're getting a little bit of internal rotation on that sideways hip. We're just going to pulse forward and back. If you're on your back, you can always just stay and breathe as you're holding the leg in. Or layer in little movements like extending and bending the leg. I love micro movements. Anytime you're practicing with me, feel free to micro move. That's how we start to feel the position of the pelvis, feeling the body. Now, taking the body to the side. So whatever shin was front, that thigh sideways. Same thing, you're pulsing. That hip may leave, it may have never touched, that's completely normal. It's just reaching away, right? So we're creating that heaviness in the pelvis to get a spinal twist. Twisting the spine. Now if you're on your back, you can take the twist to the floor. So either way, ending in a spinal twist, breathing. Remember, feel free to pause the video if you want to do both versions. Both feel great on the spine. And if it's not feeling great in your body, that is okay. Maybe try and play with backing off a little bit, right? I find working with humans a lot, we love to go from point A to point B, and we miss all that space in between, right? All that sensation of what is a moderate intensity. And part of the reason I'm doing these mindful movement classes is because I truly believe in the power of that gradual progression, the really connecting with your body. Yes, intensity can be important for building strength and power, and if our alignment is not supporting that experience, we may just leak energy, right? So why there's a lot of wrist injuries, a lot of ankle and different things. And I mean, there's so many reasons for that, not to get into twist to the side to finish off, right? But learning to understand the body, right? Maybe the wrists are hurting because we're not engaging through our upper back and our shoulder girdle and in the muscles in the trunk, right? The muscles in the trunk are really important. But injury is a normal experience. I've yet to really meet someone who hasn't experienced some form of injury, whether acute or chronic, and learning to work with that instead of against that. So always listen to your body. And you can always melt into your twist too. You didn't really show melting on the other side, but feel free to stay and play with your twisting for a while too. I'm gonna finish our class here, but thank you so much for joining. Remember, if you want to pause and do your figure 4 as well on your back, such a great way to end any movement practice. You can do it in bed too. A lot of the mindful movement exercises, besides maybe the bridging where you want that connection with the floor, a lot of this movement can be done in bed. It can be done to help calm the nervous system too, right? So when the nervous system is on high alert, our muscles tend to be really tight and contracted, and learning how to relax the body, be in the body, do both, right? It's important to be able to contract. It's important to be able to relax, to be able to do both together. You will experience lots of power, right? Power in the breath, power in the pelvis, energy through the whole spine. Thank you for joining me on this journey about the spine and the pelvis, and I hope to continue to make more videos. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any questions or if there's any body part that you really want me to work into the flow. Thanks.